He always used to say parks were for people who believed in tomorrow. That was the first thing that shattered her. She heard his laugh before she saw him. Low, controlled, exactly the way it used to sound when he leaned close to her ear and whispered promises he never kept. Her fingers tightened around the paper cup in her hand, heat spilling onto her skin, but she didn't feel the burn. She couldn't feel anything except the way her lungs refused to work. "No," she breathed, barely a sound. "No, no, no, please." The stroller wheel squeaked softly as she froze mid-step. 3 heartbeats tugged at her legs, one impatient, one curious, one already suspicious of the world. Her babies, her secret, her punishment. Across the park, he stood in tailored charcoal gray, sunlight glancing off a watch worth more than her entire apartment. His hand rested casually at the small of another woman's back, slender, elegant, Korean, laughing up at him like she belonged there, like she had always belonged there. Her knees threatened to give out. Of all the cities, of all the parks, of all the lifetimes she had run through just to stay invisible. "Mommy?" one of the boys whispered, tugging her dress. "Why are you crying?" She hadn't realized she was. She wiped her face fast, swallowing the sob clawing up her throat. "I'm not, baby. Something just surprised me." That was when his eyes lifted and found her. The world tilted. Time didn't slow, it fractured. Every sound splintered into sharp, unbearable pieces. Birds shrieking, children laughing, the soft click of heels against pavement. Her heart slammed so violently she thought the boys would hear it, see it pounding against her ribs, exposing everything she had buried. His face was drained of color. She knew that look. She had memorized it once. That moment when control slipped just for a second and the man underneath the legend surfaced. Ji-hoon. Don't say his name. Don't let it live again. His hand tightened instinctively, pulling the woman beside him closer. Protective, possessive, a habit he never broke. The woman followed his gaze and stared straight at her. Something passed between them then, silent, sharp, immediate. Assessment, calculation, threat. Her stomach dropped. This was wrong. This was dangerous. This was exactly why she had spent 6 years running from sunlight, from wide open spaces, from places where tomorrow felt possible. She turned the stroller sharply. "Okay," she said too brightly, forcing air into her lungs. "We're leaving. Ice cream later, I promise." "Mango?" one boy asked. "Yes, mango. All the mangoes." Her feet moved before her courage vanished. Behind her, she felt him take a step. "Don't follow me." Another. "Please don't follow me." "Amara." Her name hit her spine like a hand closing around her throat. She stopped. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but her body betrayed her the way it always had with him. Slowly she turned. Oh, Ji-hoon stood alone now. The woman, his fiancée, she realized dimly, because of course he would be engaged, because men like him didn't walk freely unless everything in their life was locked down, had stayed behind, watching with careful eyes. Up close, he looked the same and completely different, older, harder. Power sat on him like a tailored coat. His gaze flicked to the stroller, then back to her face. Once, twice, his breathing changed. "You're alive," he said. Not relief, not joy, accusation. She laughed, the sound brittle. "Funny thing to say to someone standing right in front of you." 6 years, he murmured. 6 years and you don't call. Don't send a word. Nothing. She wanted to scream. "You don't get to say that. You don't get to count time like it didn't almost kill me." Instead, she crossed her arms, shielding herself, shielding them. "I didn't know I needed permission to exist." His jaw tightened. She remembered that jaw against her temple, remembered the way it softened only when he slept. "Who are they?" he asked quietly. Her heart stopped. She followed his gaze down. 3 identical faces stared back at him now. Wide eyes, dark curls, matching dimples she had prayed they wouldn't inherit. Ji-hoon went very still. One of the boys tilted his head. "Mommy," Why does that man look like us? The air vanished. She felt eyes on her back, the fiancé, the park, the universe. This was the moment she had rehearsed in nightmares, the moment she had prepared for and never truly believed would come. She knelt quickly, gripping the stroller frame. "Hey," she said softly, forcing calm into her voice. "What did I tell you about talking to strangers?" "But he knows your name," another boy said. Jihoon swallowed. His voice came out hoarse. "Amara, are they?" "No," she snapped. "Too fast, too loud." His eyes cut back to her face, searching. She saw it then, the way his pupils dilated, the way his breath stuttered. He already knew. He had always been terrifyingly good at reading what people tried to hide. She stood. "This is not the place," she said, "and you shouldn't be here." A humorless smile curved his mouth. "I could say the same." Footsteps approached. She felt the shift before she saw it. The fiancé stopped beside him. Up close, she was flawless, composed, the kind of woman built for headlines and boardrooms. She smiled politely at Amara, eyes lingering on the stroller with unsettling interest. "Jihoon," she said softly, "is everything okay?" He didn't look at her. "No," he said. The woman's smile tightened. "Should I be concerned?" Amara's chest burned. This was it, the collision, the lie she had built her entire life around cracking open in public. She reached for the stroller again. "We're leaving." Jihoon's hands shot out, stopping the wheel. Electricity ripped through her. "Don't touch them," she hissed. He flinched. For a fraction of a second, something like shame crossed his face. "Then tell me the truth," he said. "Right now." She looked at the woman beside him, in the future he had chosen, at the ring glinting in the sun. And she lied. "They're not yours." Silence swallowed them whole. Jihoon studied her the way predators studied terrain. Slowly, thoroughly. "Amara," he said softly, dangerously, "you were never good at lying to me." Her throat closed. Behind her, one of the boys reached out and wrapped his small hand around Jihoon's finger. "Daddy?" he asked, uncertain. The world shattered properly then. If this story already has its hands around your heart, welcome home. This is Afro-Korean Stories TV, where love, power, and identity collide in ways that never let you go. Subscribe and stay with us. Jihoon inhaled sharply. The fiancé stepped back. And Amara realized with cold certainty that the life she'd bled to protect had just been marked. And Jihoon had never been a man who walked away once he claimed something as his. Her first instinct was to grab the boys and run. Her second, more dangerous, more honest, was to stand her ground because running had cost her everything once already. Jihoon stared at the child's hand wrapped around his finger, like it was a live wire. He didn't pull away, didn't move at all, just stood there, breathing shallow, eyes locked on the boy's face as if memorizing it in case this was some cruel hallucination his mind would soon snatch away. Amara hated herself for noticing how gentle he looked in that moment. She bent quickly, prying the small fingers loose. "Hey," she murmured, forcing cheer into her voice. "Remember what Mommy said about asking questions like that?" The boy frowned. "But he looks like me." "I know," she whispered. "A lot of people look alike." Jihoon finally exhaled. It sounded broken. "This conversation," he said quietly, "is not finished." She met his eyes, fire flaring despite the fear pooling in her stomach. "It is for me." The fiancé cleared her throat. "Jihoon," she said, measured, elegant. "Perhaps we should continue our walk." Her gaze slid back to Amara, polite but sharp, studying, cataloging. Amara felt suddenly naked, exposed. She had faced men with knives and men with hunger in their eyes. But this woman scared her more, because she smiled like someone who never lost. Jihoon didn't move. "Go ahead," he said without looking away from Amara. The fiancé hesitated, just long enough to register the slight fracture in their dynamic. Then she nodded. I'll be by the fountain, she said softly. Take your time. Her heels clicked away. Amara's pulse roared in her ears. You shouldn't be alone with me, she said. Not with everything you are. He laughed under his breath. You always did that. Turn me into a monster so you wouldn't have to look at yourself. She stiffened. I turned you into nothing. I disappeared. You vanished? He snapped. There's a difference. Her hands trembled. She clenched them into fists. You think I wanted to? I think you didn't trust me. The words sliced deeper than he knew. She leaned over the stroller, adjusting a strap that didn't need adjusting. I trusted you with my heart. That was my first mistake. He stepped closer. Too close. The boys watched him now, wide-eyed, curious, unafraid. That terrified her more than anything else. You're scaring them, she said. No, he replied. I'm scaring you. She looked up, and for a moment the world narrowed to just the two of them again, like it used to, like it had no right to anymore. What do you want? She asked. The truth? You can't afford the truth. He studied her face, the dark circles she never quite hid, the lines at the corners of her mouth from too many forced smiles. You look tired, he said quietly. She laughed, sharp and ugly. That's what motherhood does when you don't have bodyguards and blood money. His jaw tightened. You think that's all my life is? I know that's all it ever was. Silence stretched. One of the boys yawned. Another leaned against her leg, trusting, warm. Ji-hoon noticed everything. How old are they? He asked. Her heart stuttered. 5, she said after a beat. His breath caught. He did the math instantly. She saw it in his eyes. That's impossible, he murmured. She met his gaze, unflinching. Is it? His throat bobbed. You left before I could tell you? She cut in. Yes, I know. The words burned. She hadn't let herself say them in years. You didn't give me a choice, he said. Her voice dropped. Neither did you. Anger flared in his eyes. I would have protected you. She shook her head. You were the reason I needed protection. That hit. She saw it land, saw the crack widen. You think I don't know what kind of man I am? He asked quietly. I think you don't know what kind of damage you leave behind. He reached for her wrist. She recoiled instantly. Don't. His hand stilled midair. I'm not yours anymore, she said. And they're not. Her voice broke. Not yours to claim. Not yours to pull into your world of blood and silence? Ji-hoon dropped his hand. I'm getting answers, he said, whether you like it or not. Fear slid cold down her spine. You can't just... I can, he interrupted, and I will. She leaned closer, lowering her voice. If you love them, even a little, you'll walk away. His eyes flicked to the boys. One was chewing on the stroller strap. Another was staring at him like he was a puzzle. I already love them, he said. The words shattered something fragile inside her. You don't get to say that, she whispered. I just did. She straightened, pain hardening into resolve. Then listen carefully. You come near us again, and I disappear. For real this time. You'll never find us. His gaze sharpened. That's a threat. That's a promise. They stared at each other. Two people who had once believed love could save them. A voice cut through the tension. Ji-hoon. The fiancé stood several feet away now, closer than before, watching. We need to leave, she said. People are starting to stare. Amara felt it then, the shift, the invisible walls closing in. This wasn't just a reunion. This was a reckoning. Ji-hoon didn't respond immediately. When he did, his voice was calm. Too calm. Go home, he said to Amara. We'll talk later. No, she said. We won't. A slow smile touched his lips. We always do. Her stomach dropped. The fiancé studied her openly now. You must be very important, she said lightly. I've never seen him look like this. Amara met her gaze. You've never known him like I have. Something dark flickered behind the woman's eyes. Jihoon, she said softly. Who is she? He hesitated. That hesitation told Amara everything. I'm nobody, Amara said quickly. Just someone from his past. The fiancé smiled. Funny, the past rarely shows up with children. The air thickened. Amara's chest tightened. This was slipping out of her control. Fast. She pushed the stroller forward. We're leaving. Jihoon didn't stop her this time, but she felt his eyes on her back like a brand. As she walked away, one of the boys turned and waved. Jihoon raised his hand slowly in return. Amara didn't look back again, but she knew. This wasn't over. It had only just begun. And somewhere deep in her chest, beneath the fear and anger, a traitorous thought whispered, what if running had never really saved them at all? She didn't stop walking until the park was 3 streets behind her, and her lungs burned like she'd swallowed fire. Only then did her legs give out. Amara collapsed onto a bench outside a closed bakery, hands shaking as she locked the stroller brakes with more force than necessary. The boys looked up at her, startled. One started to cry, not loud, just a soft, confused whimper that split her open from the inside. Hey, she whispered, dropping to her knees. Hey, no, Mommy's here. Mommy's got you. She pulled them close, breathing them in. Baby shampoo, sweat, sunshine, normal things Jihoon had no right to touch. Her phone vibrated. Once. She ignored it. Again. Her heart slammed. She didn't have to look to know who it was. Don't answer. If you answer, you let him back in. The phone vibrated a 3rd time, longer this time. A call. She silenced it with a shaking thumb. Mommy, the suspicious one said, the one who noticed everything. That man, is he bad? She swallowed hard. No, he's just complicated. Like you? Another asked. She laughed weakly. Exactly like me. They accepted that. Children always did. They trusted her to frame the world in ways that made sense, even when it didn't. Her phone buzzed again. A text this time. Jihoon. We need to talk. She stared at the words until they blurred. No, we don't. She typed with angry precision. Amara. You promised you'd leave us alone. The reply came almost instantly. Jihoon, I promised nothing. Her chest tightened. She imagined him standing somewhere quiet now, already issuing orders, already pulling invisible strings. That was the part of him she had loved and feared in equal measure. The way he never panicked, never rushed, never lost. She shoved the phone into her bag and stood. Okay, she said brightly. Too brightly. New plan. We're going home. Pizza tonight. Yay! 2 voices cheered. The 3rd just watched her. Eyes narrowed. He had Jihoon's eyes. She hated herself for noticing that too. Home was a 3rd-floor walk-up with a broken intercom and a neighbor who smoked too much, but it was safe. It was quiet. It was hers. She locked the door behind them and slid down against it, breathing hard. This was happening. The thing she had built her entire life around avoiding had finally found her. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She cleaned. She wiped counters, folded laundry. Setting the table like a routine could hold the walls together. The boys settled into their cartoon, laughter filling the room like a fragile spell. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Her blood ran cold. She answered before she could stop herself. You're crossing a line, a woman's voice greeted her. Calm, educated, dangerous. Amara Lewis, the woman said. This is Sun-hee. Her breath caught. Sun-hee. Of course she had a name. Of course it sounded like it belonged in rooms with glass walls and men who nodded when she spoke. I believe we met briefly today, Sun-hee continued. You left rather abruptly. You have the wrong number, Amara said. A pause, then a soft laugh. You don't strike me as someone who believes that. Amara closed her eyes. What do you want? To understand, Sun-hee replied. You appeared out of nowhere with 3 children who look remarkably like my fiancé. I think curiosity is justified. They're not his, Amara said automatically. Sun-hee hummed. Ji-hoon has never been very good at lying. He didn't deny it. The floor seemed to tilt. He told you? Amara whispered. He didn't need to, Sun-hee said. His face said enough. Silence stretched between them. Sun-hee spoke again, her voice cooler now. You should know that my family values clarity. Surprises are unwelcome. Amara's grip tightened on the phone. Are you threatening me? I'm advising you, Sun-hee said. Disappear quietly, and this becomes an unfortunate coincidence. Make things complicated, and you put children at risk. Rage exploded through her fear. You don't get to talk about my children, Amara hissed. On the contrary, Sun-hee said softly, I do. Ji-hoon's life is not one you step into without consequences. Amara laughed, sharp and broken. You think I stepped into it? He followed me. Another pause. This one is heavier. You loved him, Sun-hee said. It wasn't a question. Yes, Amara said. Past tense. Ji-hoon doesn't use past tense. I noticed. Sun-hee sighed. Meet me. No. Tomorrow, she continued, unbothered. Just you. I want to see the woman who made my fiancé forget himself. Amara's stomach twisted. I'm not interested in your curiosity. You should be, Sun-hee replied, because if you refuse, Ji-hoon will stop asking. The line went dead. Amara stared at the phone, heart pounding so hard she felt dizzy. That night, sleep refused to come. Every sound made her flinch. Every shadow looked like a decision closing in. She lay between the boys, listening to their breathing, memories pressing in uninvited. Ji-hoon's hands on her waist in a tiny kitchen. Ji-hoon murmuring plans he never meant to share with anyone else. Ji-hoon promised, I would burn the world before I let anyone hurt you. She had believed him. That was her flaw, loving too deeply, trusting too completely. Her phone buzzed near dawn, a message from Ji-hoon. Ji-hoon, she contacted you. Her chest clenched. Amara, did you give her my number? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Ji-hoon, I didn't have to. She exhaled shakily. Amara, you put us in danger. Ji-hoon, you put yourself in danger when you ran. The words hurt because part of her knew he believed them. Amara, if you cared at all, you'd end this. Call off your fiancé. Call off whatever games you're playing. A long pause. Ji-hoon, I didn't choose this. She scoffed silently. Neither had she. Amara, I'm not meeting her. Ji-hoon, you will. Her pulse spiked. Amara, or what? The reply came slow, deliberate. Ji-hoon, or I'll make sure you never have to run again. Tears blurred her vision. Threat or promise? She turned her face into the pillow so the boys wouldn't hear her cry. By morning, she had made her decision. She packed a bag, birth certificates, passports, cash she'd hidden for years. She woke the boys gently, explaining they were going on an adventure. They believed her. At the door, she hesitated, looked back at the life she'd built from scraps and stubbornness. Her phone buzzed one last time. A location pin. Ji-hoon, don't do this the hard way, Amara. Her jaw set. I'm sorry, she whispered to no one. I tried. She stepped into the hallway, locking the door behind her, and walked straight into the beginning of the end. The cafe Sun-hee chose smelled like money and restraint. Polished concrete, white orchids with no scent, men in dark suits who didn't drink coffee so much as supervise it. Amara felt every step she took like a countdown she couldn't stop. She had left the boys with Mrs. Okafor downstairs, kissed their foreheads like it might be the last time, and walked here with her spine straight and her fear tucked so deep it burned. Sun-hee stood when she entered. She wore ivory, not bridal, strategic, the kind of woman who never appeared to compete because she always won without trying. Amara, Sun-hee said warmly, as if greeting a friend. Thank you for coming. Amara didn't smile. She sat. Say what you want to say. Sun-hee studied her face with open curiosity. You're more beautiful than I expected, Amara snorted. That's usually how this goes. Sun-hee's lips curved faintly. With Ji-hoon, yes. The name landed between them like a dropped glass. A server appeared. Sun-hee ordered tea for both of them without asking. I didn't come for pleasantries, Amara said. You threatened my children. That buys you exactly one conversation. Sun-hee folded her hands. I warned you. There's a difference. Dress it however you want, Amara snapped. You don't get to scare me into obedience. Sun-hee's eyes flickered. Not anger, interest. Do you know why Ji-hoon is still alive? She asked suddenly. Amara stiffened. I don't care. You should, Sun-hee said. Men like him don't survive because they're strong. They survive because women decide they should. Amara laughed sharp. Is that what you think this is? A competition? No, Sun-hee replied calmly. A correction. The tea arrived. Steam curled between them like a warning. You disappeared, Sun-hee continued. You left him fractured. Dangerous. Do you know how many people died because he couldn't control himself after you vanished? Amara's stomach dropped. That's not... He tore through the organization looking for you, Sun-hee said. Ignored counsel, ignored strategy. He became reckless. Amara's throat closed. She had never wanted that, never imagined it. And then, Sun-hee said softly, my family stabilized him. Understanding dawned, slow and sickening. You didn't save him, Amara whispered. You used him. Sun-hee smiled thinly. We refined him. Amara's hands shook. You erased me. We erased a liability. Silence roared in her ears. Sun-hee leaned forward. Now you've returned with 3 more. They're not liabilities, Amara hissed. They're human beings. So are we, Sun-hee said. And yet we all make choices. Amara laughed, tears threatening. You want me gone again. I want clarity, Sun-hee corrected. Ji-hoon is marrying into my family. That future cannot include complications. They're his children, Amara said. Saying it out loud felt like breaking a seal. Sun-hee's gaze sharpened. Prove it. Amara froze. What? A test, Sun-hee said. Quiet, private. If they're not his, you walk away with compensation. If they are, her voice cooled. We decide what happens next. Rage exploded through Amara's chest. You don't get to decide anything about my children. Sun-hee tilted her head. Then why are you here? The truth hit hard. Because Ji-hoon would never stop. Because power didn't ask permission. Because running had only delayed the inevitable. Amara swallowed. If I agree, Ji-hoon stays away. Sun-hee nodded. During the process. And afterward? Sun-hee smiled gently. That depends on what you want. A lie, or worse, a half-truth. Amara pushed back her chair. I won't let you turn them into leverage. You already have, Sun-hee said, by existing. Amara stood. This was a mistake. Sun-hee didn't stop her. Ji-hoon is waiting outside. The words hit like a shove. Her hand froze on the chair. Outside, the city hummed. She saw him through the glass, leaning against a black car, phone in hand, face unreadable. Her heart betrayed her, slamming against her ribs. You planned this, Amara said hoarsely. Sun-hee nodded. He listens to you. I needed him to hear. Amara turned. Hear what? That love, Sun-hee said, is a weakness we can't afford. Amara stepped out into the sunlight. Ji-hoon straightened instantly. His eyes searched her face, urgency bleeding through his control. What did she say? He asked. Amara laughed softly. You know exactly what she said. He took a step closer. You don't have to do this. You brought me here, she shot back. I brought you so we could talk, he said, not so she could corner you. She didn't corner me, Amara said. She showed me the cage. His jaw clenched. She doesn't decide our lives. Doesn't she? Amara whispered. Your family, her family, the men who watch you breathe. He reached for her. She didn't pull away this time. Look at me, he said. She did, and hated how easily her heart obeyed. I never stopped loving you, he said. The words cracked something open. You never loved me safely, she replied. I would change everything, he said fiercely. For them. For you. She searched his face, desperate. Then walk away. Silence. That was her answer. Behind her, Sun-hee stepped out, composed as ever. Ji-hoon, we're done here. He didn't move. Sun-hee's voice cooled. Now. He exhaled, something breaking behind his eyes. Amara stepped back. You see, you don't choose. She turned to leave. Ji-hoon caught her wrist. Don't disappear again. She looked down at his hand. Let go. He did. And for the first time, she saw fear in his eyes. As she walked away, her phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. DNA test scheduled. Tomorrow. 9 a.m. She stopped breathing. If you're still here, still holding your breath with Amara, stay with us. Like, comment, share. Tell us what you do when love turns into leverage. Subscribe to Afro-Korean Stories TV. We don't let go once we've got you. Amara slipped the phone into her pocket and kept walking. She didn't know yet that the test wasn't the real trap. The real trap was believing truth would set anyone free. The clinic didn't look like a place where lives came apart. It was all glass and pale wood, and soft instrumental music meant to calm people who believed they were in control of what came next. Amara hated it immediately. She hated how normal it felt, how clean, how nothing in the air warned her that this room was about to decide the shape of her children's future. Ji-hoon was already there. Of course he was. He stood when he saw her, eyes sweeping over her face first, then flicking instinctively to the hallway behind her, as if expecting the boys to appear at any moment. They hadn't come. She hadn't brought them. This was the one line she refused to let anyone cross. You didn't have to be here, she said, stopping several feet away. Yes, I did, he replied quietly. They're my... Don't, she cut in. Not yet. He held up his hands in surrender, but his jaw was tight, his control stretched thin. They sat on opposite sides of a low table, the space between them heavy with words neither dared say. For a moment, neither spoke. The hum of the building filled the silence. Too loud, too intrusive. I never stopped looking, Ji-hoon said finally. She laughed softly without humor. You found me the moment I stopped running. That's not fair. Neither is this, she shot back, gesturing vaguely around them. You don't get to test my children like a theory. His eyes darkened. I'm not testing them. I'm claiming responsibility. The word responsibility twisted inside her. She had carried that alone for 5 years, every fever, every night terror, every moment of wondering if she was enough. And if they are yours, she asked, what then? He didn't hesitate. Then I protect them. From who? She whispered. He didn't answer. That silence was louder than any threat. A nurse appeared, clipboard in hand, smiling professionally neutral. Miss Lewis? Mr. Han? We're ready. Amara stood. Her legs felt hollow, but she moved anyway, because she always did, because stopping had never been an option. The procedure was quick, too quick. A swab, a signature, a sterile efficiency that made her stomach churn. When it was done, the nurse smiled again. Results will be available this afternoon. This afternoon. As if the rest of their lives could be reduced to a few hours. Outside, the air felt sharp, like she'd surfaced too fast from deep water. I want you to hear this, Amara said, stopping him before he could speak. No matter what that paper says, they don't belong to your world. They belong to me, he said, voice low. She stepped closer, eyes blazing. They belong to themselves, and I belong to them. If you bring danger to their door, if one shadow follows them because of you, I will burn everything you love to the ground. For the first time since she'd known him, Ji-hoon looked startled. You should try, he said softly. I would have succeeded, she replied. Something like pride flickered across his face, then vanished. Come with me, he said suddenly. After. Let me explain everything. No, she said. There's nothing left to explain. She walked away before he could stop her. The hours crawled. Amara sat on the floor of her apartment, back against the couch, watching the boys build towers out of plastic blocks, their laughter a thin thread holding her together. Every buzz of her phone made her flinch. Every sound in the hallway sent her heart racing. She thought about the woman she had been before Jihoon. Softer, reckless. Certain love was enough. She thought about the woman she'd become. Sharp-edged, alert, willing to do things she'd once sworn she never would. Her phone vibrated. Jihoon. She ignored it. Again. Then a number she didn't recognize. Her pulse thundered as she answered. Hello? Miss Lewis, a calm voice said. This is the clinic. Your results are ready. Her breath caught. Email them. I'm afraid we can't, the voice replied. There's been a request to deliver them in person. Her blood ran cold. By who? A pause. Too long. By Mr. Han. Rage flared. You had no right. I know, Jihoon's voice said suddenly. She spun, heart slamming. He stood in her doorway. The boys froze, 3 identical faces turning toward him in unison. Time stopped. Mommy? One whispered. Jihoon dropped to his knees. Slowly, deliberately, as if afraid sudden movement might break something fragile and sacred. Hey, he said softly. I'm sorry I scared you yesterday. Amara surged forward, fury blazing. Get out! He didn't look at her. His eyes stayed on the boys, shining, unguarded. I won't touch them, he said. I swear. One of the boys tilted his head. You're the man from the park. Yes, Jihoon said. I am. Why are you here? Jihoon swallowed. Because I think I might be your father. The word father landed like a bomb. Amara's vision blurred. You don't get to do this like this. I do, he said quietly, finally looking up at her. Because the results came back. Her heart pounded so hard she thought she might faint. And? He stood, pulling a folded document from his jacket. He held it out. Her hands shook as she took it. 99.99% probability. The world went silent. One of the boys smiled shyly. Does that mean we have 2 parents? Something inside Amara broke. Jihoon exhaled, a sound between a laugh and a sob. Yes, he whispered. It does. She backed away, shaking her head. No, it means nothing changes. It changes everything, he said. No, she cried. It gives you leverage. It gives her leverage. Sun-hee's voice drifted from the hallway. Only if you let it. Amara turned. Sun-hee stood there, impeccably dressed, eyes already calculating. I wanted to be present for this moment, she said. Family milestones are important. Amara's chest burned. Get out of my home. Sun-hee smiled gently. This is temporary. The word temporary felt like a threat. Jihoon stiffened. You promised. I promised clarity, Sun-hee replied. And now we have it. She looked at the boys. They're beautiful. Amara moved instinctively, placing herself between them. You don't get to look at them. Sun-hee's gaze slid back to Jihoon. We need to talk. He hesitated. That hesitation told Amara everything. This is the part, she whispered, tears spilling now, where you choose. Jihoon's mouth opened and closed. Sun-hee turned toward the door. We'll give you a moment. She stepped out. Jihoon looked at Amara, anguish written across his face. I never wanted to hurt you. She laughed through tears. You never wanted to stop either. He reached for her cheek. She let him touch her for 1 second, then pulled away. If you take 1 step toward her world, she said, you lose us forever. The boys watched, confused, scared. Jihoon's hands curled into fists. I'll fix this, he said. You always say that. He turned toward the door. Amara sank to the floor, arms wrapping around her children, as if her body alone could shield them from what was coming. Because she understood now. The test hadn't decided who their father was. It had decided who their enemy would be. Sun-hee didn't come back alone. Amara felt it before she saw it. The shift in the air, the way the hallway seemed to narrow, like the apartment itself was bracing. Ji-hoon returned first, face carved from stone, followed by two men who didn't look at the walls, the pictures, the toys on the floor. Men who had been trained not to see anything but outcomes. Amara's body moved before her mind caught up. She stood, placing herself fully in front of the boys, arms spread slightly, instinct older than language. No! Ji-hoon stopped short. They won't touch them. She laughed, breathless. You don't know that, or you don't care. Sun-hee stepped into the doorway last, calm, composed, in control. This doesn't need to be dramatic, she said. We're family now. Amara's voice shook with rage. Don't say that word. Sun-hee tilted her head. You forced it into existence. Ji-hoon turned to Sun-hee. You said this would be private. And it is, Sun-hee replied. These men are private. Amara's heart hammered. You brought them to intimidate me. Sun-hee smiled faintly. I brought them because you're unpredictable. That's rich, Amara snapped. Coming from a woman who threatens children with tea in her hand. Ji-hoon flinched. Enough! They both looked at him. He straightened, shoulders squaring the way they used to before blood was spilled. This ends now. Hope flickered inside Amara before she could stop it. Sun-hee studied him. Careful. He ignored her. I won't marry you. Silence detonated. One of the boys gasped softly. Amara's breath caught. Sun-hee's smile didn't fade, but something behind it hardened. You don't mean that. I do, Ji-hoon said. I should have said it sooner. Sun-hee's eyes flicked to Amara, calculating, then back. You choose chaos over legacy? I'd choose my children, he said. Amara's knees nearly buckled. Sun-hee exhaled slowly. You're emotional. This is why men like you need structure. Ji-hoon stepped forward. This is why men like me destroy structure. For the first time, fear flickered across Sun-hee's face. And then she smiled again. Kill her, she said lightly. The words dropped like ice. Amara didn't scream, didn't run. She turned her head just enough to look at Ji-hoon. This was it. This was the choice that would define everything. Ji-hoon didn't hesitate. Touch her, he said calmly, and every name tied to your family dies with her. The men froze. Sun-hee laughed, sharp and incredulous. You wouldn't. I would, he said, and you know it. Silence stretched, thick and suffocating. Sun-hee studied him the way one studies a chessboard mid-collapse. Slowly, she raised her hand. The men stepped back. Very well, she said. Keep your children. Amara's breath shook. But understand this, Sun-hee continued, eyes locking onto Amara. You will never be safe with him. And when you realize that, when fear outweighs love, you'll come back to me. She turned to leave. At the door, she paused. Oh, and Ji-hoon? He looked at her. You've just declared war on your own blood. She left. The door closed. The apartment felt impossibly small. Ji-hoon sagged, the fight draining from him all at once. He looked at Amara, eyes raw. I meant it. I choose them. I choose you. Amara shook her head slowly. You chose late, she whispered. He stepped closer. We can fix this. Together. She laughed hollow. You don't understand. There is no together that doesn't end with them bleeding for your sins. That's not true. She knelt in front of him, eyes blazing. I spent 5 years teaching myself how to live without you because loving you almost killed me. I will not unlearn that now. His voice broke. I'm their father. Yes, she said softly. And that's exactly why you have to walk away. The boys clung to her, confused, frightened. Ji-hoon looked at them, really looked, and something shattered in his chest. If I disappear, he asked, will you be safe? Amara swallowed. Safer than with you. Tears slid down his face unchecked. I wanted to be better. I know, she whispered, but wanting isn't enough. He stood slowly. "I will protect you," he said, from a distance. She nodded. "That's the only way." He knelt one last time, pressing a kiss to each boy's forehead, gentle, reverent, like a prayer. "I love you," he whispered. They didn't answer. They didn't understand. Maybe that was mercy. Jihoon stood, eyes lingering on Amara as if trying to memorize her soul. Then he turned and walked out. The door closed. This time it didn't reopen. Weeks passed. The city changed. Names fell from headlines. Whispers spread. Power shifted. Amara moved. New neighborhood. New routine. New locks. Sometimes envelopes arrived with no return address. Money she never used. Protection she never asked for. Sometimes she felt his presence like a shadow at her back. But he never came close. One night as the boys slept, she stood by the window watching the city breathe. She had loved a dangerous man. She had chosen her children. And she would choose them again, every lifetime. If this story stayed with you, if it hurt a little, if it made you think, stay with us. Subscribe to Afro-Korean Stories TV for more stories where love, power, and identity collide, and nobody leaves unchanged. Amara turned off the light and went to bed. Tomorrow will come. And this time she was ready for it.